Hey everyone, it's Mike with Sam. In this tutorial, I'll give you an overview of how to record League of Legends and games like that with just your integrated graphics card. Now, this tutorial is very dependent on the strength of your computer and when it comes to your processor, how much RAM you have, etc. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at a program that I like to use to record games like League of Legends called Open Broadcaster Software. We're going to go to the Google search and I'll leave a link in the description. It is obsproject.com, as you can see. Now, this is a free open source software for live streaming and recording. It's still in its beta version, but it's very useful and it's pretty powerful. It's good to use and it provides the tools necessary for good recording or live streaming. Now you can download it over here, and I'm not going to download it again because I already installed the program. But basically, OBS is completely free. You don't have to pay anything, and it's open source. It's just a good free program that allows you to record gameplay, any type of game. But for me, I'm going to show League of Legends as an example. And I find it pretty good when it comes to using a weak graphics card like an Intel HD graphics card. So basically, the reason why this is even difficult is that recording with your Intel HD graphics card is just not strong enough to support playing the game and recording at the same time. You can download OBS and run the installation. Now I'm going to go a little forward and open up Open Broadcaster Software, which is on my desktop. And you can see that I already have a scene set up. Scenes are like presentations that have sources in them. You can record sources, and basically these sources are what you're actually recording. Now I will show you my PC settings. So if I go to this PC, double click that, and go to System Properties, click it once, you can see that my system has a processor Intel Core i7 2640M CPU at 2.80 GHz. The installed memory, the amount of RAM I have, is 8.00 gigabytes. And the system type is 64-bit operating system. Now that's pretty powerful for just a regular laptop. I use Windows 8.1 Pro, and I know that some of the people out there don't have a laptop like this, maybe stronger, maybe weaker. But let's go to DXDiag and go to display, and then see that my device Intel HD Graphics 3000. If I go to the bottom right, you can see that I do have an NVIDIA control panel, and if we open it up, we can set. You can see that I actually am using my preferred graphics processor as integrated graphics, and this is in the NVIDIA control panel, which is used when you have an NVIDIA graphics card. Now, I have a GeForce GT 540M, but I've chosen to use my integrated graphics card to display in this video. My GeForce GT 540M is actually broken. It doesn't work. And for some of you people out there, you use your integrated graphics because you don't want to install a new graphics card that might be broken, like my GeForce is broken at the moment. And for my laptop, for my Dell XPS 15, that GeForce is installed and soldered onto my motherboard, so I would have to get a new motherboard just to fix that. And on laptops, that's an issue. It's hard and it's annoying. So I end up just dealing with my integrated graphics. But I still want to record gameplay sometimes on my computer, and my desktop is weak. My laptop's stronger than my desktop, so I put up with my integrated graphics. So I'm going to show you how to deal with this and hopefully get the correct or good enough frames per second. But it comes at a cost, and you'll see. Okay, so we're going to go into the settings of Open Broadcaster. Going to speed this up. And let me just X out a little cough. So if we go to settings of Open Broadcaster, we can see that general, you have your language and your setting profile, and I leave these default. Now for encoding, I leave this mostly by default, I believe. I just have an encoder of X264, use CBR, enable CBR padding, custom buffer size is checked off, and I used a 3000 max bitrate and buffer size 3000. And for the audio encoding, I just leave it by default, AAC 48 kHz, 128 bitrate, and the channel is stereo. Now, you might have to adjust this according to how strong your processor and the amount of RAM your computer has. I can do this because I've experimented a little. It's always about experimenting. For broadcast settings, I just go to the mode file output only, which means that you're just going to record in a file. File path is in my videos. For the start recording hotkey, I do F8, and for the stop recording hotkey, I do F10. Now with that settled, I'm going to go to the next place. You can also live stream if you wish. As for video, I like to do my video adapter as Intel HD Graphics 3000. For the base resolution, I actually do a custom base resolution, 1280 by 720, because I don't see the need of recording at the 1366 by 768, I think. And the resolution downscale is 1280 by 720 with FPS of 30 frames, because 30 frames works well enough. For audio, I mainly leave this by default. I just use my Blue Yeti to record and show only connected devices, use default audio device, desktop audio device. There's nothing really to look at this. As for advanced, I leave checked up, use multi-threaded optimizations, process priority class normal, scene buffering time as 400, X as under video, I use X264 CPU preset as very fast, encoding profile as main, 2 keyframe interval, use CFR. And you might have to adjust that according to how strong your processor and how much RAM you have. But after that's done, after you find the settings that kind of works, you can do OK. Okay, so one thing I need to mention is that for me, I think I leave these settings mainly by default. And I do that because I didn't really see the need to change it. But if we go to scenes, we can add a new scene. We're going to add a new presentation. And I'm going to name this tutorial scene. And then press OK. With a new scene, you can add new sources. Right click under the sources category. But one thing that I'm going to do first is open League of Legends, because you need to have the game open to have the source. Now League of Legends is unique because there's a client and also there's an in-game client. And if you right click and add a capture region, you can just name it League of Legends client, because remember there's two of them. Press OK. And I'm going to search for the application called pvp.net client. Press OK on that. As you can see, I zoomed in. I leave everything else default and press OK. Now, I'm going to add a new game capture source. And after I log in, first of all, I need to actually go in game to do this. So let me just start up a game and show you that once you start in the game, League of Legends does this thing where it changes the game source. It's not the same client. It's basically the second client. And the way you do this is you can do add game capture afterwards. And then you would just add the game capture of the PvP client that pops up, or the League of Legends client that pops up. It might have a different name. So let me just start up a game and then do a little alt tab and show you what it pops up as. So I'm just gonna start up a custom game. Be pretty easy to do this. And then start up the game very quickly. One thing that I also want to mention is once we are recording, I'm gonna do a little thing where I change the video quality settings to the lowest it can be, because for the video quality settings, you want it to be absolute bottom. You're using integrated graphics. I'll say that in the future that you need to put up with the low quality if you're using integrated graphics. The integrated graphics is just not strong enough usually to handle high or even medium graphics while recording. Recording takes a lot if you're recording at the same time while playing. And you want to maintain an appropriate frames per second too. So you need to lessen the weight that it is doing on your computer. Now if we right click on this game client and add a new source underneath sources, wait until this game pops up, you won't see anything because right now all I have recording on my XSplit, because I'm using XSplit at the moment to record, is just a screen. But we can add a new source, League of Legends, in-game, press OK, and there it is, League of Legends, and we can press OK on this. Now it is above the League of Legends client, so the in-game client will have priority over the in-client. So in-game will have priority, and that's exactly how you want it. Now you can move up and move down these priorities, but basically this is the setup. Once you have this, one thing that I'll point out is that there's a little problem when the game in Open Broadcaster software, when it switches from the in-game or in-client to in-game. And to fix that, normally streamers or even recorders on YouTube like to do a screen region to in-game. So they'll record a screen region, and if they start it up, they'll go in-game. So that's basically it for Open Broadcaster settings. One thing that I forgot to mention is that you should do this. This is an optional step, but at the bottom right, if you see the battery, you can go to more power options. What I like to do is set high performance, as my computer needs all the juice it can get to record. Honestly, that's the price you pay for using integrated graphics. You go to view more power options, and then you change the plan settings at the side of high performance. Now make sure that you go to advanced settings, change advanced power settings, and underneath Intel graphics settings, make sure that you have maximum performance. You're using all that your Intel graphics can give you. And that's basically it. Now we're ready to record. So I'm gonna just start it up. I'm gonna stop a little, recording with XSplit. I'm gonna go inside a game. I'm just actually go into a game and then start recording with Open Broadcaster software. And you'll see that the performance is good enough. It's gonna be good enough. And you can play competitive, and really you need the frames per second on a game like League of Legends, so the performance will be good enough to play. Now it won't be as good as if you didn't have the recording software on, but it'll be good enough to play. So basically, I start the recording while I actually get into the game. I still have some troubles of doing the sources correctly, but whenever it switches from the client side to the in-game side, there's always this weird glitch that happens. So what I normally do is I just record while I actually get into the game, which might be a problem for some people. But I think it's because that I should actually do a whole screen region instead of just starting the recording from client to in-game. I should just do from the entire screen region to in-game. But anyways, you can see that my video options, I select the resolution as 1280 by 720, colorblind mode, lowest graphics, uncheck these two boxes, uncapped frame rate cap. And now I just do OK over here, make sure it's full screen. And for the frames per second, you can see at the top right, it's pretty decent now. That's because low quality. You're using integrated graphics, you have to deal with the low quality. Now, you can just go around and record with these settings. And when the game actually finishes, it will also, since the stats at the end of the game is part of these, it's part of the in-game client side, and when the stats appear, it will also record the stats just fine. But for some reason, if I start recording when we are in match selection and choosing champions, and then switches in-game, there's a problem. So I think the solution is to just select the screen region for the entire screen, but I can't be sure of that. But at least you can record with decent frame rate. And again, this depends on your computer and how strong it is. You can only push the hardware so far. You can only do these little fixes, these little pretend fixes that just help you record. So thanks for watching, everyone. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and hopefully this helped you a little bit. See you guys later.